So if you want to start and scale a brand new Facebook ad account, we're going to dive into a quick video here of best practices to do so. So my name's Evan Seach. I run a company called Sell More Online. We helped over 40 plus businesses scale through paid ads. We work with a lot of big name clients that are household names in the coaching space, info product, B2B, SaaS world, even some real estate funds and syndications who are raising millions of dollars through Facebook ad campaigns that we run for them. And today I'm going to break down again, if you're looking to just launch a new Facebook ad account, here's the blueprint step by step to show you what to do to help you take a brand new account from zero to profitable in 30 days or less. So let's dive in. So first things first, you have to understand the common mistakes and challenges that most people do when they initially start a new Facebook ad account and launch ads for the first time on it. So common mistake number one is jumping straight into broad targeting or complex campaign structures without any foundation, okay? We're gonna dive into this more later, but broad targeting is great, right? You're probably watching some YouTube videos and you're like, oh yeah, broad targeting is the stuff, like it's awesome. Leveraging all Meta's data and everything. And yes, that's fantastic, but on newer accounts with no pre-existing data, no seasoned pixel, nothing like that, what you're gonna see at times is sporadic results and inconsistent performance until you get a lot of conversion data that's feeding back into the ad platform. So what we like to do is when we launch new campaigns on new accounts, we'll split test between 2 or 3 ad sets with different targeting options. We'll have broad, but then we'll also test against a lookalike audience or a cold interest stack, or both, right? Depends on the spend level. If it's a high spend account, we'll do all 3. Lower spend account, usually we'll do broad and a cold interest stack unless they have a really good lookalike audience set that we can upload into Facebook and run with. We don't just jump straight into broad targeting, okay? Next is called the burn through effect, okay? So burning through entire budgets in the first week with no money to show for it, okay? That's a common challenge that people have, right? They initially launch ads, and some people, there's like 2 ends of the spectrum. You have some people that are super excited to run ads for the first time and they just nuke their budget in the first week. You have other ones that have like a teeny tiny budget and they spread it thin over like 90 days and they spend like $10 a day on ads, okay? That's both are wrong, okay? What I like to do is set a healthy budget of a minimum of $100 to $150 per day for a 30 to 45 day period. So the best case scenario is you have $150 per day for 45 days that you can burn and see no results. And you're not grabbing a bottle of Jack Daniels because you're not getting results, okay? That right there is a healthy budget that you can have in a healthy time frame to really let things spend and see results. And then just the core challenge that new accounts have 0 data, 0 pixel history, and 0 trust with Facebook's algorithm. So we need to build that up, okay? And I'm gonna show you how. So if you're starting a brand new Facebook ad account in 2025, everything you think you need to know about launching ads is probably wrong, okay? Most people approach new accounts like they're just smaller versions of established accounts, but that's a critical mistake that costs thousands of dollars in wasted ad spend. The fundamental problem is that new accounts operate in a completely different environment. Facebook's algorithm doesn't know who your customers are, what messaging resonates with your audience, what your audience even is in the first place, and which creatives will perform, or what conversion patterns look like for your account. This isn't just a minor disadvantage, it's a completely different playing field that requires a completely different strategy when you first launch ads. And then you can morph into that other strategy, right, of a seasoned account. Now here is the new account reality, okay? So let me just help you understand the new account disadvantages, all right? So brand new Facebook ad accounts aren't just smaller versions, again, of established accounts. They're completely different beasts that require fundamentally different approaches when running ads. When you have a new account, Facebook's algorithm is essentially blind to your business, operating without crucial data points that make established accounts successful. Here's what Facebook doesn't know. Doesn't know who your ideal customers are, doesn't know what messaging resonates with your audience. And you don't know either. You don't know what ads work, right? You don't know what kind of creatives work. It doesn't know which creative formats drive conversions and what placements and everything. Your typical conversion patterns and timelines, it doesn't know that. It doesn't know the LTV of your customers, and you don't either probably, which is a problem. And it doesn't know the seasonal trends in your business, and you don't know it as well. You don't know, for example, if you're an e-com, if in around holidays you start to explode and see results, and outside of holidays you see diminishing results, stuff like that, right? You don't really have that data. And now here's the old way versus the new way of launching ads on a new account. The old way is to start with super detailed targeting, layering on tons of interest, demographics, behaviors, and hoping to guide Facebook towards your ideal customer. This approach fails in 2025 because Facebook's algorithm has developed beyond manual targeting constraints. The new way is strategically seeding, okay? We're systematically teaching Facebook who your customers are through structured testing that builds momentum in data organically. This strategic seeding approach recognizes that your creative and messaging do the targeting work for you, not demographic checkboxes, okay? This fundamental shift is what separates successful new account launches from just expensive learning experiences, which basically means you just burning money. Okay, so first what we need to do is actually go into market research before the ads manager. So the research first methodology. Before you even think about opening Facebook Ads Manager, you need to do your homework. This is where most people skip crucial steps and they wonder why their ads fail, okay? The foundation of successful new account launches isn't built in the Ads Manager. It's built through deep understanding of who your market is, what your prospects want, their pain points, desires, the real-time scenarios they find themselves in, problems, pain points, all that stuff, okay? That right there is what you need to have dialed in before you even open the Ads Manager, okay? So you need to know who your core market is. You need to know their pain points, desires, their market awareness levels about your solution so you can speak to them properly, the market sophistication and competitive landscape, like who the competitors actually are, what are they doing, different customer personas within your actual market, right? All this stuff you need to have dialed in. Then you also need to understand the actual psychology of your customers itself. So what are their struggles and frustrations? How do they talk about their problems? What are previous solutions they've tried? What are emotional triggers that drive their purchase decisions, okay? Then you also want to do some competitive intelligence. So what are some successful ad formats in your space? Especially if you're in like e-com, for example, knowing, what kind of ads are running and scaling, and even organic content, what kind of organic content styles are scaling within your niche. Like if you're in the beauty niche and stuff like that, are selfie videos working? Are higher produced videos working? Are ones where they play into trends working? Like what's actually working? You could also do that with info products and coaching and stuff, same sort of thing. Just look at what's actually working and what people are using. Are people doing selfie videos? Are they doing direct to camera stuff? Are they doing skits? Like what's actually out there working organically and in paid? And then replicate that, okay? Then you also need to have messaging angles and messaging buckets that resonate with your target audience, okay? Then before you run ads too, you gotta make sure that your offer positioning is dialed in and reaching the right people that you wanna target, right? If I'm selling a $297 DIY course as my main offer, I'm gonna get a wildly different person than if I'm selling a $10,000 done for you ads package, right? Way different, okay? Way different people. Plus, you need to make sure that your offer is priced accordingly to where you're actually gonna make money on the front end so you can scale your ads. If you're losing money and waiting for 5 months for the LTV to basically catch up to how much you spent on ads, that's a big problem. You need to be profitable on the front end from the first sale. And then you also have to know common objections and questions that your target audience has and how they're typically addressed. That's all gonna help you make better ad copy and better creatives, okay? And here's some stuff that we do to essentially gather intelligence and data. So we'll do customer surveys. We'll also look at like sales call data from our clients and stuff. So we'll listen to some sales calls, run them through ChatGPT and AI to basically pull different things that people are dealing with, like pain points and specific verbiage and phrases that they use. And we'll just reverse engineer those into ads. Then we'll also do competitor analysis, right? We'll look at some reviews, comments. Like I love looking at their trust pilots and stuff like that and Reddit threads. Look at successful ads they've been running inside of Facebook ad library. So we'll look in the ad library and see ads they've been running for months. Usually that means that they're actually pretty much profitable, unless they just love burning money and they keep letting bad ads spend for a while. But usually if a competitor ad is running for a while in the Facebook ad library, that means it's a winning ad for them. Then we'll also do community research, right? So if I'm selling ads, I'll join some Facebook groups that are basically teaching people how to run ads, and I'll see what people are dealing with, dream states they want. I'll see what problems they're having, what pain points they're struggling with, what questions they're asking, stuff like that. And then from there, I'm gonna take all of that and I'll create different messaging buckets and concepts, okay? So I'm gonna take the research that I have and I'm basically gonna put them into different messaging buckets, which are different ad angles and basically things that people are experiencing in real time, right? So if I am selling a service that helps businesses scale with ads, I will take all this research and make 3 different or 5 different messaging buckets, which are scenarios that people find themselves in of that bigger demographic, okay? So again, for example, say that I am targeting business owners who want to scale ads, okay? What I will do is I'll basically think, what are some different things that I have observed in different scenarios and problems that somebody who wants to scale with ads and owns a business are dealing with right now? Well, one could be maybe they've hired agencies in the past. Well, another could be maybe they're spending money on ads right now, but they're just not converting. Well, maybe another could be they're afraid to run ads. right? So these are all different messaging buckets and ad angles and ideas that you can play on and write ads and run with that feed into that bigger ICP you're trying to target. You're not just running some ad that says something super generic like, hey, are you looking to scale your business with ads? No, you're taking it a step deeper due to this research process here, and you really show your prospects that you understand what they're going through, what they're dealing with, and what they want to achieve. And this research phase is not optional, okay? It's a difference between guessing and strategically testing hypotheses based on real market intelligence. Okay. Each insight that you gather, all the research you do has a potential ad concept that you can test systematically. Now what we want to do is to create your initial test batch. Okay. Now what we want to do, now that we did all the research, we want to actually create your initial testing batch. Okay. So instead of guessing what might work, we're going to create those 3 to 5 messaging buckets. And then inside of those messaging buckets, we're going to write 3 to 5 full ads inside of them based on our market research. Each messaging bucket here tests a different ad concept or ad angle, ad idea, whatever you want to call it, which means we're testing a specific hypothesis about what will resonate with our market, what type of messaging, what scenario, problem, pain point, dream state will resonate with our target market and audience. And this is just representing different ways to position your product or service based upon discovered desires, pain points, or real-time scenarios. So here's an example, right? Say we have a productivity course for entrepreneurs, okay? Your research might reveal several distinct pain points that become testable concepts and messaging buckets. So the first could be the overwhelming angle, right? We're targeting entrepreneurs who are drowning in endless to-do lists, okay? The next one could be a time scarcity messaging bucket. So focusing on entrepreneurs who work 60 plus hours per week and have no time to do anything else, no time to basically live their life, right? Number 3, another messaging bucket could be failed solutions. So addressing the people who have tried other productivity solutions, courses, and failed. Then messaging bucket 4 could be a work-life balance desire. So speaking to entrepreneurs who are really missing family time due to work demands. You see here that all of these messaging buckets essentially tie into helping an entrepreneur who is busy be more productive with their time, right? They all feed into that. They're just different ways of saying it. They're different real-time scenarios, pain points, and stuff like that people in this actual target audience we're trying to attract are dealing with right now. That's all it is, okay? Right, and each concept here, each messaging bucket tests a different positioning angle and customer scenario. We're not just testing different hooks, we're testing different ways to position our solution in the marketplace. This approach allows Facebook's algorithm to identify which positioning resonates strongly with your actual target market rather than your assumptions about who they are. And then what we're doing here is this is just helping with data-driven discovery. Rather than relying on intuition or industry best practices, our way of testing these concepts and messaging buckets provides concrete data about market responses to different positioning strategies and messaging, okay? The market tells you which angle works best through actual engagement and conversion data, not through opinions and guesswork. That's what we're doing here, right? We took our target audience, we broke it down into a bunch of different messaging buckets and did some research on what people could be experiencing right now, what problems they have, objections, questions, pain points, desires, all that stuff. And then we basically made these buckets right up here. And now inside of these buckets, we're gonna write 3 to 5 full ads within each bucket, right? So 3 to 5 full ads talking about entrepreneurs who are drowning in endless to-do lists, right? So one, for example, could be, do you have a big notes list inside of your Apple Notes app that has a ton of tasks for you to do for your business and you just are drowning in it? Another one could be, another ad inside of this messaging bucket could be like, hey, you have Asana, you probably look at it every single morning and you're just super overwhelmed with it. There's so much to do. Let me show you how I could help you knock off everything in your to-do list in much shorter time periods, right? So we're gonna write 3 to 5 full ads for each one of these messaging buckets. Then we're gonna film them and edit them. Now I'm gonna show you how to actually set up the campaign properly for new accounts and run it. So for new accounts, we keep the structure dead simple, all right? One campaign, 1 to 3 ad sets where again, we're doing one with broad and then we're layering on lookalike or interest stacks if we choose to. And then we have multiple unique ads inside of a dynamic creative set. Now, the dynamic creative sets are the same across each ad set. Okay, so the only thing in the whole campaign that's different are the actual individual ads inside of the dynamic creative set and the actual targeting options we have on the ad sets, okay? So if you look at it like this, it's like the campaign level, then you have 3 ad sets, 1 to 3 ad sets, whatever you choose, with different targeting options, right? Broad, lookalike, interest stack, and then inside of each of those actual ad sets, you have the same dynamic creative set. So on the ad set level, we're checking dynamic creative on, and we're basically just loading up the same ads, same headline, same body copy, same description, all that into the actual dynamic creative sets. This approach allows Facebook's algorithm to effectively distribute budget across concepts while gathering maximum data with minimum complexity. So what I want to make note of here too is, remember how we developed these messaging buckets? We wrote 3 to 5 ads in them. That's what you're putting in the dynamic creative set, right? So you're just going to put them inside the dynamic creative set. You could put 1 or 2, right? On new accounts, you just want to take basically one of these messaging buckets and put them inside of one campaign, right? So inside of this dynamic creative set paired with these ad sets, all right? One at a time, and you test it, see if it works. If it works, scale it. If it doesn't work, try the new one. Right? Very simple. We don't mix and match too much, especially on new accounts with lower budgets. You don't want to max out the dynamic creative set and put like 10 ads in there. You want to do 3 to 5. Test less variables at a time. Don't spread your testing budget too thin. Then campaign level setup is sales or leads. So if you're going, for example, like purchases, or you're an e-com store, or even like running a low ticket product, you go sales, and then leads, we always optimize pretty much around the end goal. Bid type, we do auction. So campaign budget optimization, we turn it on. $50 to $100 a day is the minimum that we do. I don't even really like to do 50 that much. I'm putting it in here for some of you guys that are just new, to get you to start run ads so you can actually just like run them and get your feet wet on it. But I usually like to launch with $100 to $150 per day minimum. And basically, again, you just got to make sure that it's sustainable for a minimum of 30 days, and you're not going to be sweating if you're not getting results for that 30 days with that budget. Ad set configuration is we go broad, right, on the first one, or we could also do the look-alike split test, or we can do the cold interest stacks. Automatic placements, right, the actual optimization that we'll do is purchase or schedule or submit application, even if we have 0 purchase history, 0 book call history, etc., etc. We want to actually optimize around what we actually freaking want. There's some strategies that we'll do with our private clients that on new accounts, if we're running like a call funnel, for example, we will start with something like submit application or lead, and then feed data into the pixel, only qualified, by the way, feed qualified data back into the pixel, and then later on we'll optimize around that event that we want. So like we'll start with lead, then we'll move to submit application, then we'll move to schedule. A little bit more of a complex strategy and a little bit more advanced, but that's just something we will do. And then creative development, we deploy all of the ads that are in the messaging bucket simultaneously, right? We're putting them all in the dynamic creative set. So we're not doing all 4 messaging buckets, we're just picking one, right? We're picking one, we're testing it, seeing if it works. If it does, scale. If not, test that one, test that one, test that one, right, etc. And if you do find one here that like scales, then guess what? You're going to scale it up to a point, and you're going to make some money, and then you're going to have enough to actually put a testing budget in, and then you're going to make enough to actually put towards a testing campaign too. So then once you have a testing campaign, you'll launch this one to test, right? See how that works? You scale one, then you open up some testing campaigns after, once you have your scaling campaign set. And each ad, right, each dynamic creative set here represents one complete messaging bucket or positioning concept. Then what we're going to do is let Facebook's algorithm determine the budget allocation between these ad sets. And then what we're going to do is we're going to monitor performance without touching it for 7 to 14 days, okay? Be patient. Let it run. Right, so something I just want to leave you with here is once you launch these ads, you start scaling them, here is how you just optimize long-term, right? So your whole goal is very simple. You just want to beat the control. You want to beat your current ad that is scaling. That's the whole thing, right? You want to launch new ads and new angles, new messaging buckets, new tests based upon the data you've accumulated in your account already, like which ads worked, which ads didn't, who's closing, what type of people are closing, what are they saying on sales calls, what questions are they asking, etc. Take all this data that you're going to get from running ads, taking sales calls and closing and everything like that, and just keep making new and better ads and testing new things to try and beat the current winning campaign, the current winning ad. That's going to always allow you to continuously improve results, okay? That's really all we're trying to do here. In a very simple nutshell, we're running ads to accumulate data. We're looking at that data, seeing what works, seeing what didn't. If something works, we scale it. If it doesn't, we kill it, we learn from it, and we move on and we iterate. That is how you run ads. So overall, I hope that this gave you a very good understanding of how actually to run ads if you're just starting from a brand new account. It's a little different, right? But don't be afraid. And if you want us to actually build an entire paid ad system for you, install it in your business the right way, and help you run it, we have a one-time payment option that we basically build an entire ad system, hand it off to you in 14 days, and I'm there to help you scale it with you for another 14 days. We give you all the resources, SOPs, and everything you need to scale scale the system and get results with ads. And if that is interesting to you, there's a link down in the description below you can click to grab that and check it on out. And then also, if you want us to just run your ads for you, completely done for you, there's a link below there as well. So I appreciate it. If you have any questions, as always, drop it in the comments below and we'll talk soon.